of the old, where legends are told. From first puck drop to the season's full. Tune in and watch the drama unfold.
Given the Leafs the lead. This time we're gonna finish the job.
This has Leafs fans pumped up as they come out, and despite the controversy surrounding a Sam Bennett suspension, their starting goaltender being down, Austin Matthews looking like a shell of himself for most of this game offensively, the Leafs come out and win game 2. And yes, this is not a drill. The Leafs are up 2-0 against the defending Stanley Cup champions as they head to Florida on Friday with their backup goalie in net, who looked very solid for the most part, in one of the crazier playoff games I've ever watched, mainly because of the refereeing. It was an unbelievable game, just an unbelievable game. And the fact that the Leafs, despite all the, whatever you want to call it, missed calls, weird calls, they came out, they fought through it. Every single time the Panthers scored a goal to take the lead, the Leafs clapped back immediately. The team is built different. They feel different. And, you know, you can say all you want about the Leafs in the past. They look absolutely nothing like the previous Toronto Maple Leafs, not even remotely similar. And this game is the perfect depiction of that, because they would have folded in previous years with a game like this. Completely physical. The Leafs were out hitting the Panthers most of the game. The refs put their whistles away in one of the most ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what I was watching there. I don't necessarily hate it in the third. We're going to dive into all of it. Darius, I mean, it feels like a bit of a dream right now. The Leafs are up 2-0. They sweep on the sweep in the sense of their little 2-game, the home advantage. They now guarantee themselves home advantage here the next little bit. And they go to Florida with a 2-0 lead with one simple job, at least for me, is to win a game in Florida. You win one game in Florida, you're set up fantastically. Man, oh man, what a game, ladies and gentlemen. It's we've waited all year for this, and here we are up 2-0 against Florida, which is, I'm going to go ahead and say it, a little bit shocking.
The first time the Leafs are up 2-0 in a second-round series since 1986. I mean, they are doing things right now. And it's not even that. Like that, I mean, the Leafs didn't even make the playoffs for 10 years in a row there, right? But like, it's not even that. The league, I think, is on notice right now. Like they won both of these games convincingly, and I'm sick of this narrative that Ottawa wasn't a good team or the worst team to make the playoffs. The Leafs beat them. I'll get back to it.
CH comes in. CH with 5. Let's go, boys. This team finally 100% looks built for the playoffs. Hope you can hear me cheering from Australia. Shout out to you. I guess it's I don't know what time. It would be early morning in Australia. So shout out to you, CH.
Oh my God, yeah. I guess it's
thank you for your continued support. I'm absolutely fired up. If you're a member, pretty close to 200 members, spam your emotes, anything you want to call it. You continue, Darius. Yeah, the team looks, for the first time in the Core 4 era, actually built to win.
Absolutely. And they're winning. Like, again, the league is on notice. I know it's only 2-0, but I'm sick of this narrative. Ottawa is a good team. They beat them. They cleaned them out, right? They cleaned them out. They hardly got any scoring chances. They're doing the same thing to the Panthers, although we'll get into the specifics in a second. And I'm sure Jim's going to call in as well. We'll talk to him. But the first line got filled in by the Barkov line. That happened all night. That is something that has to be addressed. But I was expecting more pushback from the Panthers. They don't have much. Like, a couple of the goals they scored are like lucky kind of playoff goals. And the Leafs got a couple of them too. But man, the Leafs are working for it. And this is the thing I was talking about in the last series, which feels weird to say in my lifetime. But the last series that, you know, in game 5, I was like, they weren't working for it. Now they're working for it. Every single shift, they were skating well. They were hunting pucks. They earned this win. Like, this was not a lucky win. They're not lucking into any of these games. They are earning this. They're playing physical. Their bottom 6 is coming to play. Scott Laughton is proving to be one of the best trades ever. And the defense getting Carlo, super underrated. Morgan Rielly. Whoa.
Jim with the 50. So pumped right now. Full marks to the Sens are giving the Leafs a much tougher test than the champs right now. So freaking pumped. Jim, first of all, that is and we'll hear from you in a minute, crazy donation. Thank you very much for the 50. Everyone, shout out to Jim in the chat. Throw some loves, throw some hearts, Leafs Digest logo. I am right with you, Jim. This was an unbelievable display. Like, it was the most impressed. Now, I was absolutely petrified the entire game, and I was really hoping that they were going to get another one. And also, I mean, there's a lot of things that I've into here. There were multiple chances where the Leafs could have went up more goals. Some decent saves by Bobrovsky, the most notable one, Nylander shot in the before the second intermission. They could have been up a lot more. And I don't know if I could say, I mean, you could say the same a little bit for the Panthers as well, to be fair. A couple shots that were inches away. Jake McCabe saved one, and Chris Tanev saved one. There's so much to dive into. Jim, thank you very much for the 50. But
thank you, Jim.
yeah, I don't know. Like you mentioned, the Carlo trade. Scott Laughton was everywhere. It's not going to show up in the stat sheet as much, but he was absolutely everywhere tonight. He was one of the most. He had a better game than Austin Matthews in my mind, and I'm a little bit worried about Matthews. We'll see what happens with him. He doesn't look like himself at all, especially offensively.
We can talk about it.
Maybe it was just a bad game. Maybe we always knew coming into this game that top line of Florida is going to be able to neutralize that top line of the Leafs more than others. But at the same time, I mean, every other line is stepping up. You can take take the positive side of it. Their power play has been terrible. Their top line couldn't really muster much besides an unbelievable shot by Mitch Marner. And the Leafs are up 2-0. And they got Aaron Ekblad back, who, going to be honest, looked pretty good tonight.
Aaron Ekblad, I wasn't familiar with your game, mostly because you haven't played in 2 months. But
and you use PED, so I have no respect for you. Continue.
Not going to touch on that, but that's a thing that happened. But anyway, I think that, I didn't recognize that he jumped up in the play that much. Like, he was making things happen a lot, looking dangerous, and he was creating a lot of odd man rushes. So not even rushes, just odd man opportunities in the zone, which I thought that the Panthers, insane to me that the Leafs destroyed the Panthers. I would love to see the numbers, but in transition, it just looked that way, I was not expecting that. Lines 2 to 4 of the Panthers got outworked all night. I mean, the first line,
besides the third line, their third line was dominant. At least
they were pretty good. Marchand on it, and then they were like flipping Bennett and stuff like that. That was interesting. But I thought the Leafs' third line was good too. I mean, at one point they were winning 100 in terms of expected goals for on Money Puck. They were winning 100% of their shifts. That is unheard of after like your first shift. So
yeah, and I'd even argue that. I mean, I think the only line that was better than the Leafs was the third line tonight, and that's just on the Panther side. And they had a great game, even though the first line of the Panthers shut down. Matthews, Knies, and Marner. They still got the goal that won the game. So I mean, it kind of is what it is there. Also, I mean, Matthew Tkachuk, Scott Laughton had more of an impact than Matthew Tkachuk did tonight. I don't know what happened to him. I'm hoping he keeps playing that way. Also, the Leafs, and I want to knock on wood a little bit, where we haven't won the series by any means. They seem to have Sergei Bobrovsky figured out here to a degree. Like, obviously, Bobrovsky's going to make his saves. Obviously, glove side, they're shooting it. They got to shoot it high on Bobrovsky. And there's a few things I do want to touch into in the stream as well. Also, if you're new here, hit the like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Also, we make multiple videos a day, multiple uploads coming for you all tomorrow. And we have a dive into the Stolarz thing a little bit later on. But yeah, I mean, it's what a crazy game. And I will give Matthew, he's been great defensively at times,
Great.
But I'm hoping he can get his shot going. And if he gets his shot going, we can lock it in. Yeah, there's going to be there's going to be trolls. This is high leverage hockey right now. It is high leverage hockey. It's going to be, what's up, Eric? It's going to be the way it is. Does Järnkrok do anything? I think he's playing fine. Like, obviously he's not going to be a guy who is going to score, but he's checking hard, and he's the primary chaser when they dump it on that fourth line. So it's like
I was gonna say exactly that. Yeah. He's like the designated, like, the other two guys are too big, so you go in and chase it. But no, he's fine. I don't know why.
Leafs in 4. I mean, we can say it for now.
It's definitely possible. I mean, like, it's definitely possible.
That's hilarious.
I think Matthews has been a lot better than people have been giving him credit for. I know he's not scoring, and I know there's this whole thing. I saw the tweet, okay, or whatever we're calling it. I know the website's X, but somehow it's still tweets. Anyway,
yes, tweets.
I saw the tweet about him missing the net and all this, and that his wrist is banged up, whatever.
Probably
maybe, but look how good he's playing defensively, right? Like, yes, tonight they got filled in. I thought that majority of the time they were playing in their own zone. That top line, right? And you got to fix that.
Paul comes in with the 10 center up to 2 down, 2 to go, and without our number one goalie, Leafs go. Panthers go. Man. Thank you very much, Paul. I'll let you continue your thought. It just feels so surreal to me. This was a game in my eyes that had for a little bit there, I guess flashbacks, whatever you want to call it, of the Leafs caving and losing all over it. During that stretch of play where it was that was one of the crazier playoff games I've watched just from start to finish. There was 10 minutes, and I would say at least 5 or 6 penalties between the Leafs and the Panthers that just weren't called, and it kept getting more aggressive and more aggressive. The only thing that saved it was the intermission. So we'll dive into the reffing in a little bit. It is what it is. Also, the embellishment call, which some people actually are saying it isn't. I know Darius, we'll dive into your opinion on that.
Oh boy.
However, regardless of that, I'll let you continue your thought here. It's they like the top. You had to. I don't know if there's any negatives that you could like feasibly take away from this game. Like obviously the top line and the power play needs to be better. You still won the game, and Joseph Woll, like he didn't look amazing. And I was talking to my friends about it. I was saying he's playing a fine game. This is at the start of the third, but he hasn't had a good save in the sense of like a great save that is gonna because a few of them were savable. Like a couple of the goals, a great save would have saved it, and then he comes out and has the sliding save on the right side, his right, and our left. That I don't know, nothing. I don't want to compare Stolarz and Wall, but that's like an athletic save that I'm not sure Stolarz would be able to get to. So it made me feel good for a minute there. I have faith in Wall, and that's going to be a big conversation. Is if he's healthy, who do they play? They'll probably go back to Stolarz, but I don't know if you can take Wall out after a win either. It's going to, I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I would go back to Stolarz right now. If Joseph Woll I'll get back to it in a second.
Jose with the 20.
Jose!
Two more. Jose, welcome back. Thank you very much for your support. It's crazy. Two more wins from the last series before the Stanley Cup Finals, and we'll let that sink in. We will let that sink in. And also, we've been talking about
That's an odd way to put it, but I see the vision.
Yeah. Or we could say 6 wins away from the Cup if you want to go that way.
Yes.
But
Cup final.
Yeah. Looking at the other side, like I think we stand by what we said. If we get through Florida, I love the Leafs. I love the Leafs' chances, but I'm not going to dive into that too much. I watched the Canes and Washington game yesterday. Washington looked terrible, and the Canes are carried by Frederik Andersen. So I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about.
And let me tell you about teams that are carried by Frederik Andersen, my friend. Not good.
This boy comes in with the membership. What a win! This is a different team. Yeah, it is a different team. Absolutely. I'll let you continue because keep interrupting.
Yeah. Do you want to dive into the hit? Because we got to get into a lot of stuff still. We got to touch on Pacioretty as well. And
John comes in with the 5. The morning super chat. The more luck we have to leave. Let's go, boys. Go back to Juan. I agree with that. Jokes aside, John. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, I'm gonna go out and say it. I think if Stolarz is healthy, they're gonna ride Wall regardless for next game for a couple reasons. I think the main reason is just he's now back into the rhythm, and then Stolarz would have to be taken out of the rhythm. But it's going to be interesting. You guys said stop coach show super chat. The person finished speaking. What a team 10 to go. The problem is it gets hard to track sometimes. It gets hard to track with how fast the chat goes. Scotty, thank you for the 5. It's me and Ruff and Darius. Yeah, we can dive into the hit. We can dive into the hit a little bit. And
what did you think? What did you think?
So initially, I think I have, and I'm very curious to see what people think about it. I don't think they should call it embellishment. I think it's a pretty weak embellishment call. I don't think embellishment should necessarily happen if you get hit from behind. The more you look at it, the more you could argue that, he maybe saw it coming. He put his hands up to protect himself. I don't think it should have been called at the end of the day. And I think if we were on the other side of that, it would have been, I think, the same way. I could see why they called it, though, after like a ton of angles. I think they just tried to find a way to make it 5-on-5 because they saw a bunch of stuff going down. I think that's ultimately what happened.
I think they were trying to diffuse things. And after seeing a bunch of the replays, I have to say that in terms of having it 5-on-5 after, I thought they had got that right. But I think that there should have been 2 penalties for both teams. I think like if they got it right, it should have been even, but it is a hit from behind and it is embellishment. I do believe it was embellishment. I thought it right away before they even called it. I was like, why did he fall that way? I think it was more about the way he fell. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it was more about the way that he fell on the ice after the hit than like the whole situation as a whole. But anyway, they called it that. And I thought the officiating, like they lost control for a bit, but then things simmered down a bit in the third because both teams were, getting after it. So.
And then they missed when Blake coming to 279. What's embellishment? Flopping, basically, if you're familiar with that, or
diving.
Yeah, diving, making a call, making it seem worse when it's not really a hard penalty, make it seem worse than it actually is. How's it 4 minutes? I don't know. I don't hate the call. I don't hate the call, but it's fair. Whatever side you want to take on. I understand why Florida Panthers fans are mad, and I'd be mad too if I was a Leafs fan.
For sure.
I mean, people are saying, and Rodriguez, I'm pretty sure he went. This is pure speculation. People are saying he went out to try to draw a major penalty, like went out to the dressing room because he came back like a minute later,
immediately
fine for the rest of the game. So maybe that was
I wouldn't put that past them or him.
A few runs at the goalie too. We saw some few runs at the goalie.
Both ways, honestly. Although the Leafs looked more accidental, like they were driving the net, it wouldn't have been a couple of those wouldn't have been goals anyway because they're in the blue paint. But both ways.
Yeah, and
thank you, Serpent. I appreciate it. And Daniel, I saw what you said earlier about CP24. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep, but perhaps he flops a little bit as well. He is going around there. But looking at the the box score, William Nylander has been the best Leaf in the playoffs. Pacioretty randomly. I mean, we're experiencing prime Pacioretty, I think here.
Pacioretty, he found a time machine, I think, in April, and he's now 2015 Max Pacioretty again. He's unbelievable. It's the
craziest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I love it. I mean, I love the. I said he'd be a pretty good asset. Scotty coming in with the 10. Did you notice Savard and Bruber's left, so he was farther from the camera? Also after Max's goal, yeah, I saw that. Crazy how much time Max on Scotty, that's going to be something that I think is talked about after the season about the Dubas versus Keefe thing, mainly more so about Craig Berube. I think no matter what the outcome is now for the playoffs, like even if the Leafs, it's never going to happen. If the Leafs lost, let's say this series, like let's say they lose 4 in a row in some crazy world, right? I still am going to think back to, wow, imagine we had a coach like Craig Berube for the past 8 years, because I think it makes that much of a difference. I genuinely think it does. Nothing against Keefe. I think for this particular group, though, you needed a bit more Mike Babcock, but without the absolutely garbage human being that he seems to be.
That's right. Yeah,
which is what
a good
Berube
coach and a good human being. Yeah, right. Really, like no, he's everything that this team needed. I do want to explain that about the camera thing. When it was the second period with Domi's goal that they were showing, you switch sides on the bench because of the long change. So he was on the opposite side. He's not hiding from the camera.
I saw Berube give a little bit of a celebration in there too, I think, on one of them. He was pretty fired. I think it was the most fired up. I think it was the Max Domi goal. I think it was the Max Domi goal.
Yeah. No, it was a big goal, right? So as we go, it'll be fun.
That's fair, Tommy. To be fair though, I think in the playoffs, every win you have to take is like a huge win within itself.
It is. Especially
winning both. I don't know the receipts. I will get them ready if the Leafs win this series. The amount of Florida in 6 I have heard from online, my friends, the brackets, all these different things. It's still possible. But man, oh man, I don't know how many people, analysts had the Leafs in this series, which, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense the way that it is, but Florida doesn't look and they came out hot. Florida came out hot.
Yep.
Most of the game, it was kind of back and forth. The Leafs dominated a lot of it, but also Florida there at the end was a little bit scary. Wall did his thing. Tonight.
He did. Wall played well. The first goal, initial reaction, I was like, oh boy,
yeah,
here we go, right? But you watch the replay and you're like, I could see how he let that in, right? Because you thought that, I think it was Tanev was going to block the shot. It got through him, and it's an awkward angle, right? So I could understand
power play
that.
Too, so
yeah, second goal is all Morgan Rielly's fault. Like I maybe you'd like a big save, like you were talking about, like a goalie to come up with a big save there. I get it.
It was 100% on Morgan Rielly. Yikes. However, I am in the moment. I even text you. I'm going to let him have. Morgan Rielly can do that the way he's been playing. When he's playing horribly, well. Sure, those are awful. When he's playing as good as he's been playing offensively, it is what it is. Pretty bad backhanded pass. But at the same time, though, as Robert comes in with the 5, if we have the Jets and Leafs play for the Cup, we would have the Tanev brothers against each other, and also Holmberg, the new Bunting. Very interesting.
Maybe. I don't know.
Holmberg, we'll dive into the Holmberg stuff in a minute here as well. Robert, thank you for the 5. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the second goal. The problem is it is Morgan Rielly's fault, and he should have saved the shot. It wasn't I consider that a pretty not routine because I don't think he was ready for it.
Right.
But I'm fairly confident Anthony Stolarz saves that shot. I guess that's where, and that's the unfortunate comparison I'm going to be having here, is because we've watched Stolarz so long now, so many games in a row. It's weird. Stolarz makes all the, I don't really know the difference in they're very different goalies. Obviously, Stolarz is 6'6", but I'm a lot less nervous when Joseph Woll or when Anthony Stolarz is out there. But at the same time, it seems Woll has a bit more control in the very close quarter saves. And maybe that's incorrect. Maybe it is, but it seems like he's saving some of the ones that Stolarz lets in. And of course, Stolarz hasn't had great rebound control. Neither did Woll tonight. But I feel a little bit, safer. I don't think there was any jam shots or anything that went in. They were very close. But maybe, it's the tail. Obviously, Woll's a bit more agile because he's not 6'6".
Well, that helps, right? But then Stolarz takes up more of the net, right? Which I think is why we feel more comfortable. Matthew Tkachuk also spoke out and said that when Stolarz was with the Panthers, he was harder to score on in practice than Bobrovsky. So take that for what you will. That could be some gamesmanship as well. But I think you're right, because I think Joseph Woll is more of a technical goalie than Stolarz is. I think Stolarz is big, and obviously he's a good goalie. I'm not saying he's not, but he's very athletic. He makes some athletic saves for his size. But Woll is a more technical goalie. So like those jam plays and stuff, I feel like he's a little bit better with those. But then like he's also good side to side, like laterally as well, like as we saw tonight. But there's his rebound control still needs work. Like there's a couple of things with him where you're like
he looks a lot more uncomfortable with shots from like the point. He just looks like not ready to save them, which I think maybe it's part of.
I think the reason for that is because Stolarz can see over everyone.
That's also very nice.
So that might help his case. But no, I think like all in all, Joseph Woll with another good performance. So
he had, I mean, no matter what happens, it's similar to last game. You win the game, you're fine. He had the best saves, I think, probably the best save of this Leafs playoff run, which was that the sliding one
that toe save
over. It was an unbelievable. I mean, Chris Tanev also 1B with an unbelievable save, and Jake McCabe he tried to get it with a stick, missed it, and then just took it with his hand there. And looking at the impact scorecard a little bit, you have Patches at top with Morgan Rielly. I mean, look at the top line; it's middling, right? And defense, all these different things. Tavares was pretty quiet tonight. He had a lot of opportunities, couldn't fully get it going. I mean, Pontus Holmberg, despite towards the bottom, he just made things happen. Should have been a lot of penalties. Maybe people were clamoring for some Holmberg embellishment, which I don't think is the case necessarily, but I understand. CH, thanks, boys. Back to work. See you Friday. CH, have a great, I guess,
see you Friday.
Thursday, because it's Thursday for you right now in the morning. So have a good day at work, and we'll see you Friday. Pontus Holmberg, there was two bad missed calls, I think, for sure, was the Holmberg when he got smoked in open ice, and then they called him for a trip, which was a trip. And then, of course, the Matthew Knies, which I couldn't see, but the announcer saw it. And then it showed the camera, and he was bleeding. So I guess it was a clear miscall there.
Is that the Knies one you're talking about? Sorry. Then I think it might have been. I want to get to Lit Gaming's question in a second because he's asked 3 times, and I do want to get to it. But I think it might have been a follow through. Maybe that's why they didn't call it, or maybe because they're like, hey, they're not calling that. This is the playoffs. Yeah, like you know what I mean. So. Whatever, they won the game, but stuff like that's going to happen in the playoffs. You just have to be prepared for some egregious stuff to happen. But Lit, real quick, I touched on it in a video earlier today. If in any situation, the backup goalie has to come in with Anthony Stolarz out. So let's say Woll either got injured or gets pulled because the game is going poorly. In any situation, you would rather Matt Murray, who's won a Stanley Cup, multiple Stanley Cups for the Pittsburgh Penguins, come into the net in that situation to calm things down instead of a rookie who hasn't played well at the NHL level and Hildeby come into the net and let things snowball even further. So I think it makes sense. In the playoffs, there's no salary cap. There's no, like, you can make whatever roster moves you want. So maybe Ryan Reeves is the 5th goalie now. But I think that, I'd rather Matt Murray in that position than Dennis Hildeby for sure. No matter the situation. Imagine if they were up by 1 goal, Woll gets hurt or something, and if they're down by a couple goals, like it's a tough situation for
we get an update tomorrow on Stolarz, which
that would be nice.
Which, let me tell you, if he's held, it's going to be because let me ask you this: let's say Woll goes out and he wins Game 3 in a similar performance of the night, you're not taking him out. I don't think. Like, there's no world you take him out. So then it just completely flips on its head, and then you ride Woll until a bad game. Like, there's going to be a lot of updates we're going to have, and a lot of storylines now since that. And this is the first time going live since the no suspension.
Right.
He should have been suspended, and we all don't. Sam Bennett's an interesting one. I do want to give. Actually, I don't even want to give Sam Bennett any props necessarily. However, let me say this: no props to Sam Bennett. He's a very, very dirty player. I called him a dirty player in one of the intros of the video. There was a time in this game where he could have. At the very least, it's impacting his head a little bit. Maybe someone spoke to him. And whether it's on the Panther side, it's kind of hard to put into words. The exact same play as when he ran into Stolarz, and he just stopped on a dime and didn't go near Joseph Woll. So maybe that's my guess is that he doesn't want to get suspended because if he touches a goalie again, he's probably going to get suspended, which is a benefit to us. Horrible play, dirty, should have been suspended, but took him out of his game a little bit, and that was a very dangerous chance to score the puck if he would have ran through there.
I think there's a lot of times too that the league steps in sometimes and sends memos to teams and they're like, hey, if this snowballs, like there will be some consequences, like your player's going to get suspended. So I do think there could have been, again, I'm just speculating on that, but I wonder if the league stepped in and was like, don't hit any more goalies, even if it's almost by accident.
And then Marchand says, screw that.
Accidentally on purpose.
Let me trip up.
That was kind of Woll's fault too, though. Yeah. Like the ref was like,
I don't think it should have been called a penalty. I also don't know, read the room a little. He'll never read the room though, to be fair.
Brad Marchand. Oh, Brad Marchand reads the room. He definitely reads the room. He just goes against everything. Yeah. But no, I think that was kind of Woll's fault too. But as a player, you have to avoid the goalie. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So.
Matthew Tkachuk, the most we've talked about him on the channel was when he tried to trip up Mitch Marner, and he had, I think, one good chance tonight, and he missed the net. So
yeah. So he spoke out on Pat McAfee, I believe, and a couple of days ago before the series started, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get all the secrets from my brother." You're getting the secrets, buddy. You're down 2-0. But he was speaking out, and he's like, "I'm pain free from whatever he was dealing with." I don't think he's 100%. I think this is something that he needs to rehab like longer. And I think that he has limited mobility. And I believe he's pain-free, but I don't think he can move the way he wants to. So I think there's still something going on there. And everyone said, oh, no, he's 100%. You see the Florida Panthers, beat reporters, writers, all of that. They're saying, no, he's 100%. He's ready to go. Why is he on
a... If he's 100%, he's playing like this. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. There's no way he's 100% because...
Similar to Matthews.
Why is he on a different schedule? Yeah, exactly. But why is he on a different schedule than the rest of the Florida Panthers heading into this series?
Robert with the 5. Why is there not 2 days between city changes? Is it because of money? Very good question. Exact same schedule as last series against the Senators. Different days, of course, with the same gap. I don't know. Gonna be honest, though. I don't think an extra rest day would benefit the Leafs right now. Might be a hot take. I think they just got to keep riding the way they're playing. Like, you got to keep...
I agree.
Keep rolling. I don't think the Leafs players want a rest day. Like, sure, they're hurting, whatever. Anthony Stolarz. Some very good points were made on Twitter. I think you brought it up as well. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you stuck with it off camera. The goal coming into this game, and a lot of people in our comment section as well, shout out to you guys, they're saying, I don't think the Leafs are going to lose because of Joseph Woll. If they lose, it's going to be because of other things. If the Leafs lost this game 3-0 or 3-1 or 3-2, wouldn't have been on Joseph Woll. They went out and they scored goals, which is why they won 4-3. And that's ultimately, of course, the big part of winning there. Also, just a lot of comments. We're going to be covering most of them in the video for tomorrow morning as well.
I would like to read one right now because I did not expect to hear this from Brad Marchand.
You see, Gavin in the chat as well said it in case you want to read it. They came to, you can go ahead and say it.
Brad Marchand says that this is a very different Leafs team than he's ever played before, and that they came ready to play this round. We see that, and then he followed that up with, and it just disappeared on me. He followed that up with, we have our work cut out for us. They're obviously playing really well right now. So I don't think he's lying because we can all see that the Leafs are playing well and they're a different team, but there is a little bit of that. He's pumping their tires a little bit. So then when when things maybe go the Panthers' way, he can rub it in their face, right? A little bit of gamesmanship there, but the Leafs are playing really well.
Yeah, I don't like Brad Marchand, but I can respect him as a hockey player and what he does. Though he's dirty sometimes. But he's also right. Like he's probably realizing right now, like, okay, this is not good. And I'm sure Paul Maurice probably feels the same way. Hey, hot take, this is bad.
Yeah. Hot take. We might be in trouble. There could be some trouble here. I mean, if the Leafs split this, you're feeling really good going into Florida. I suspect right Florida's,
and I was talking
I do too, but
they could lose both games in Florida, and I won't be feeling great.
Yeah. And
here's the key about winning the first 2 games. If you win the first 2 games at home, I don't know what the percentage is that you win the series. I'm assuming it's 70s, something like that. Maybe it's a bit lower. Brad's still a rat. Yeah. Canadian.
Thank you, Robert.
If they ended up losing for whatever reason 2 games, you still have home ice advantage in game 5 and game 7. Now, it's the Leafs. It is what it is. But now your goal has to be to win. And I'm sure Berube's saying win both. But the goal has to be win one game. Brad is the same guy that prior to the series said that the champs are the underdog in this series. That is true.
I never understood this. Yeah,
Which
the
I don't
Florida
understand. They won the
Panthers,
Stanley Cup last year, so I mean,
the Florida Panthers in their room are, you know, every team has their thing going into a series, right? Something that they rally behind. They're trying to rally behind the fact that they're the underdogs going to a second round series against the Leafs. What are we talking about?
Also,
right?
I want to bring this up here. 79% win rate when they're up 3-0. Let's have a look at the deserved to win-o-meter. Now,
My favorite.
this is interesting because there's a tweet and it said, so in game one, let me just bring this up now. So this was game one right here. The Leafs dominated play. They deserved to win and they won.
Yep.
Game two, or this was okay. I got the wrong screenshot. This is game one right here. This is game one. Okay, everybody. So this was game one. And then this was tonight's game.
Goodness.
Now, I think this is a good thing, though.
Yes, it is.
And this was from I don't think it was a Leafs reporter. It may have been, whatever it was. Something special brewing in Toronto. Leafs dominate game and win game one. Panthers dominate game two, and Leafs still win. Now, you could argue if you're a Panthers fan, if they play, if they
you
play
said
like
Panthers
this,
dominate game one?
no, Leafs dominated game one here.
I got you.
And won, and then Panthers dominate game two, but the Leafs still win. So in theory, let me look at the actual stat here. The expected GF, Florida was 3.24, Toronto was 1.09. So the analytics are saying the Leafs got heavily outplayed tonight, which makes some sense, but at the same time, you win the game.
Well, I think that the Florida Panthers had more high danger scoring chances. They looked more dangerous, right, for the majority of the game. I think everyone can agree with that. But the Toronto Maple Leafs Mitch Marner's goal, like these types of goals, like Marner's goal, are not going to look good on the analytics. They're just not on the advanced analytics.
You also had William Nylander's breakaway, basically.
Right.
Like so I don't know. You could argue the Leafs. I don't know. Jim's saying the Leafs had twice as many high danger scoring. I don't know if I'd agree.
I don't know the number to be. I'm just from the eye test, I thought the Panthers looked a little more dangerous in that regard. But the Leafs were driving play. I do believe that, yeah.
Again, it's a weird. It's a lot of this is generated based on puck possession and things like that, and at the same time, the Leafs obviously it's just a fun stat to bring up. It's a fun stat, and I guarantee you, if you go into don't do it, but if you go into like Panthers Twitter, Reddit, whatever, this is going to be headlining it. This right here, the Panthers deserve to win a meter, but we've seen this with the Senators. It does not matter. It does not matter. Yes, okay. The Leafs were 7-3 Leafs and high danger scoring chances. Okay, so
there you go.
The Leafs game doesn't necessarily favor the win-o-meter.
Yeah, which is fine because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as you win the game. Mitch Marner's goal is not going to show up on those things, right?
Same thing with the Senators.
Just using that as an example. Yeah, exactly, right? So I think they're fine. Just win. Just win. It doesn't matter how they go in. Just win. But yeah, there was a comment here I'm trying to find. Panthers were playing perimeter hockey. Yeah. A little bit of that. I thought the Leafs were a lot better in creating chances off of their forecheck, which is crazy because that's what the Florida Panthers are known for. So, and they were better in transition. I do believe that the Leafs were better in transition tonight and off the rush, which, at times, depending on what line, the Panthers play that game as well. So
it's also
I don't want to say they're beating them at their own game because I feel like this is just the Leafs' identity this year.
And some of it's the way that Florida plays. I mean, Florida pinches heavy. You always see two, players when in the Leafs D zone. However, I think it's a part of Craig Berube and all the guys' strategy. Like they're leaking out a lot for breakaways or whatever it ends up being. I think a lot of that's because of the aggressive play style of Florida, and it opens up every single time. Like I talked about how ferocious, that's the word I use, Florida's forecheck is going to be, which it is, but the Leafs are cheating a little bit so much to where if you just make one good pass, like Morgan Rielly's been doing, you're going to get a lot of those high danger scoring opportunities. So I think it kind of works both ways, but it's not working for the Panthers. And when the Panthers do get, pressure in the forecheck, but also just get good chances, they're either missing the net or the defense. The Leafs have one of the best defensive cores now in the NHL and remaining in the playoffs. The Leafs block a ton of shots, and that's part of it as well. And most of the goals haven't been off the point. I don't think was there a single goal off the point today? I guess the power play one technically.
No, I wouldn't count that one.
Maybe it wasn't.
No, I don't think so tonight, but there have been a lot. Maybe Mitch Marner, you can count that one. Maybe. I think it was from the point, but not from a defenseman, that's for sure. So, yeah, that's a good point. I don't think there was. So, that's interesting. I was just thinking too, like the Florida Panthers and Brad Marchand's quote. Like I do think they're going to push back here once they go home.
Yeah, I don't think
There's
it's gonna
going to
be
be
a sweep.
some. There's going to be some. Yeah, like but listen, anything's possible. Florida beat the Leafs in 5 last time, right? And they weren't supposed to, quote unquote, weren't supposed to. But yeah, I think anything's possible right now. I mean, Florida can win 4 straight. Any team can win 4 straight, right? It's a playoffs. Like anything can happen. Carolina won last night. Nobody picked them to win the first game. So, well, I wouldn't say nobody, but I didn't. So anything can happen in the playoffs. It doesn't matter the deserve to win meter. It's nice. Ottawa Senators, they won a bunch of those in the first round, but they're home now.
The Ekblad Pass, technically. Yeah, I could consider that. Let's get Jim in here.
That's
I
right.
made him wait too long. Jim, first of
Yeah.
all, thank you very much for the $50 donation. Very, very generous. We're here, and we're an X amount of wins away, which will let you take over before you head out at the end of the call. What are your thoughts on the game here? Leafs are rolling. They're up 2-0 in the series. It feels like a dream a little bit, but for the first time in the Core 4 era, I mean, I feel confident in the second round. I can say that pretty confidently.
Guys, I am so pumped. I can't even know where to begin. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to preface this by I'm going to try to talk slow tonight because otherwise I'm really concerned I might swear in the most positive way possible. I mean, you look at tonight's game, man, from like Holmberg, like what do you have to do? Holmberg has to having me murdered on the ice to get a call tonight. Craziness. And then, guys, you guys haven't covered it yet, but I was crapping in my pants when I saw Tanev go down and look
Shoulder.
questionable.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, that was a moment where I was holding my breath, probably more than the goaltending situation from the previous game. And then you look, as you mentioned, McCabe sweeping that puck out of the blue ice. Guys, I am so pumped. This was a statement game for this team. The Panthers tonight, if you look at, they looked overwhelmed at times tonight. They looked like they were like Toronto was literally playing the Florida Panthers game without the between the whistle stuff. The Florida Panthers are taking stupid penalties. We took one stupid penalty tonight. But you know what? Good for you, Holmberg. At least because at that point they actually owed us 4, so Holmberg got 1. I think we're still on the plus category on that one. I love it. You guys know when it comes to hockey, guys, I love a circus. But you know what? Tonight, calm, composed. These guys went out there, took care of business, didn't get involved in any of the between the whistles nonsense, and they came out as the victors tonight. Leafs are staying focused, all business. I'm freaking so pumped, boys. Can't wait to hear what you got to say. I've got so many points, but I'm going to shut up for a minute and hear you guys talk.
They are, I keep saying it. The word this year for the Leaf fans, everybody, is composure. They're keeping it together because we know what the Florida Panthers are about, and they're not letting them do that to them. And the only person who has allowed that to creep in, and he took a penalty, was ironically Pontus Holmberg. But he was in and around it all night. He had a good game, and he didn't retaliate after that. And he just kept playing his game. And the Panthers are going to hold you. They're going to bring you down to the ice, all this stuff. We know what they're about. But he was still making plays out of it and continuing to play. So I thought he was really, really good tonight. Obviously, the one, lack of discipline penalty there, but there was a whole circus going on in that second period. That was insane for a good 5-minute stretch. That was haven't seen that in a while. But no, they're playing very direct and they're playing discipline. I love it.
Me too. And if you look at it, guys, if in our the way I would dream this up is if the Florida Panthers were going to okay, we're going to put all of our targets. We're going to really get one guy. We're thinking, there's all the common characters you'd think they would attack on the Leafs. Nobody's thinking Holmberg. Nobody.
Right,
but for whatever reason, they're all over him tonight. And you know what? Again, another feather in the cap of Berube, because Berube saw something in Holmberg that maybe I didn't, because he does not only does not look out of place, he looks defensively really strong, and he's doing his job, and for whatever reason he's doing it in a great way that's getting the Florida Panthers off their game a bit. Guys, there was lots of questions going in tonight about Wall. Nick and I had talked about before throughout the year about just how his rebound control, it was going to be an issue, and given the smothering attack of Florida, I was really concerned about that tonight. But my bigger concern, to be honest, was how the defense for our team was going to react to not having Stolarz in net because of Stolar's incredible ability to control the puck. At times, it's almost like we have a third defenseman back there. And Wool is good, but he's not as good as Stolarz is, and we saw that tonight. But I think for the most part, I think Wool answered all questions tonight. And I think there was a few times tonight where it was like, holy crap moments. But I think, he's shown us all year, guys. He may or may not be given any different game. We could have one goalie that's better than the next. Wool was serviceable tonight, and that's all we really wanted from him. He didn't give up the back-breaking goal. I don't like all the goals against tonight, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to criticize a win here. He stepped in on short notice. I think he was quite good.
Yeah, it's a good point about the puck control as well. Stolarz is very good at it, very scary with it at times, but he always, gets the job done. Wall's a lot more. He left the puck a lot more. He was a lot more afraid to make the stretch pass, which I'm perfectly fine with. I'd rather him focus on playing his game inside, especially as a younger goalie, than that. But Darius, go ahead.
I was gonna say I just saw something. I know this is off topic from Joseph Woll. First of all, I thought he played well, and again, there's still certain concerns at rebound control. A couple of the goals maybe you want back, right? But I just saw this come across the screen, and then I had to search it up because I needed to know if it was actually real. Seth Jones played 28 minutes tonight for some reason. Woo! Yeah, so if that continues, he is going to get tired. And one thing that I did not expect is Matthew Knies is running that man over every shift.
Yeah.
I know they were getting filled in a lot tonight, that first line, but man, that was noticeable. And that Matthew Knies knocked him over, I think, 3 times. And that is a big man in Seth Jones. So he's playing a lot of minutes. He's getting scored on. He's on for a lot of goals against. I believe. I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but I thought I saw it last game too. And then there was a couple tonight. And he's playing a lot. So I feel like that will catch up to you at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to dovetail on that quickly, guys. And that's the fact that, like, when you look at the ability that Stolarz has to stop the puck and control it, almost acting like a third defenseman, when you don't have that, like we did tonight when Wall's in net, it does leave the defenseman open to getting their rather for Florida to get their licks in our defenseman. And I think that's kind of what happened with the Tanev thing. So I think that's the adjustment from our defense are going to have to make moving forward. But no, I think that's interesting. I think you look at Knies, especially. I think tonight, especially, guys, he looked like a man, straight up. Like at one point, I literally heard myself say it loud. I'm like, oh my god, this guy is a beast. Like he literally is out there just dogging guys, and these are big friggin' names. At one point, he's just dogging these guys. Great point. He's got into his man frame. This guy is going to be a dominant force. We talked about it a lot during the year. I'm so happy for him, and I'm so happy for this team because wow, what a factor he is. And just briefly, guys, I just want to talk about Austin Matthews. I do believe he's seriously injured. I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't look right. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter because we're a whole team approach. And because of the threat he poses, the other team, Florida, is going to have to have some of their best checkers against him. And so that leaves some of our other guys open. And that's our second and third scoring is coming in. And I think, so hopefully he gets better as time goes on. But for whatever reason, guys, it's working, and I think it's working really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, I think he's hurt as well. Whether it's his wrist, something affecting his shot. He's struggling to hit the net on his shots.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about this, and they're winning. So maybe this style of Matthews that is more focused defensively is just better for the way that this team is built. Because this is the best playoff run that they've had in his entire career is right now. Even if they somehow lose the next 4 games, you can still argue this was the best, playoff run that they had. You can debate with the Tampa Bay series, whatever it ends up being when they beat them and then they, went on. But regardless of that, they're winning games. So maybe this version of Austin Matthews, which isn't scoring goals all the time, which is crazy to say, it might just fit better because everyone else knows they have to step up, but also his defense is significantly improved compared to last year and years in the past. So maybe this is just, obviously you want him to score the puck, but I mean, I don't even want to even complain necessarily about people who are complaining about Matthews. I understand it, but this is the first time that the Leafs are up 2-0 in the Core 4 era in the second round. So it's, it is what it is.
Well, I think it's a good point, Nick. Like his game has definitely matured, and I think too. Like I as much as I believe that he's got some sort of injury, I would guess another wrist injury. That's totally speculative on my part. But then tonight there was a point where the Leafs were on the. I can't remember if it was an odd man rush or on the power play, but Marner came in and he was in the slot. and yet he dished off to Matthews. So, anyways, that makes me rethink that whole thing. Well, if he did have some sort of wrist issue or some kind of problem with Matthews had a problem with his release, obviously Marner's going to be taking the shot and not dishing off to him. So I don't know what to think about that, guys. But Pacioretty, though, oh my God, at this point, can we label Pacioretty the best PTO signing in Toronto Maple Leafs, probably the league history? Like, this is absolutely insane. When the Leafs signed him in the offseason, obviously there was a lot of question marks around him. He has just embraced this role. He is a killer. And you saw it tonight, guys. Like, there were times tonight where Florida was like, they were checking their shoulders whenever they saw either Matthews, or they saw Willie or Tavares on the ice. They were looking over their shoulders because they knew the freight train of Pacioretty was coming down and was going to absolutely run somebody over. And he may not do it all the time, but he led both teams in hits in the first period with 6. And that's pretty impressive. And he's a big guy that's going to run people over. Anyways, if you guys have anything to talk about that, but Pacioretty, I just like that goalie, the tip he had tonight, his poise. He just looks like a guy that knows he's on fumes as far as his hockey career, and he's trying to make the absolute most of it. I love the guts and glory kind of mentality that I get from him. And you saw his face. If you guys saw his face when he scored that goal, like so straight up, like it looked like a kid that just scored his first goal in the NHL. Love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and quickly, Blake with the $6.99. And your thoughts on this as well, Jim? Do you think Knies is the best second round pick for Toronto? I'll dive and wrap back around that in a minute. Regarding what you said about Patches, I've been on the Patches train for the way back before. For those people who were here in the stream before he got signed, before the Leafs were even linked to him, it was kind of just brought up as a joke, and I said, get him in. I think he could actually be very good. And I'm proud. I'm proud of Max Pacioretty. The jersey that I said I was going to get, I'm going to have to get it now. I was going to get it. It's hard finding a Max Pacioretty jersey. I think Papa Polly was one on.
Nick, not to interrupt you, buddy, but I didn't want to ruin anything, but don't get that one because you may have already got one. That's all I'm saying, buddy.
Okay, I won't order a Max Pacioretty jersey. I was looking at it. I was looking for it. Okay, we'll save that for a couple weeks. We'll reconvene on that.
Fair enough.
I'll thank you now, I guess, as well. But
no. Let's move forward. Let's move forward.
If you were there in the stream, when was this? Jim, I think you were definitely, I don't know if you were in that exact stream, but you're obviously around that time. It must have been September, I think.
Very early. It was before the season.
In the summertime. It was someone brought it up. It was when we were doing, I believe, it may have even been during our streams with just looking at Mitch Marner trades, which is ironic now. And, Max Pacioretty, we got him. And I texted Darius and I said, is Max Pacioretty the GOAT? And I think he is. He might just be the greatest of all time with the way that way that he's playing here. But jokes aside, like, he's amazing, which is it's crazy to say. And we mentioned it, how he matches up a lot better with Florida than he did with Ottawa, just in general. He's going toe to toe with every single player he's going against, absolutely rocking the opposition. But he's also, and he's winning puck battles. That's something that kind of got lost in this. The Leafs won so many puck battles that's why the Panthers aren't scoring. They're either exhausted by the forecheck of the fourth line, or they're just, by the time they get the puck, it's been so long that they've been on, the shift has been on it's just a fantastic thing. And Pacioretty on the second line, if you would have told me before the season that Pacioretty would be, among leaders in points against the Florida Panthers in the second line, I actually would have said, you know what, that's, I believe it, which is, maybe I'm one of the only people who could have said that. I'm done pumping my own tires now, but
it's also his, if I can jump in for a second, it's also his poise with the puck. It's not just, all these things we talk about that he's been bringing out season, like he's hitting, he's physical, he gets to the front of the net, he's scoring goals, right? He's doing all of that. We know that. But I noticed a couple times tonight, specifically his poise with the puck and that he absorbs hits. Like, somebody will come to hit him and he'll absorb it. Like, he's massive. They can't even hit him. Yeah, they can't even hit him. And then he'll wait a second, make a play with the puck, right? Like, put it in a good area. He'll put it right on somebody's tape. He'll go for a change. He is such a smart player. And I think that he's a type of player that he knows, like, I have a great opportunity to win a Stanley Cup right here. I'm going to lay it on the line because I've been dealing with injuries and I'm going to leave it out there. So he's, I love Max Pacioretty, which in the year 2025, very weird to say about a former Montreal Canadiens captain, but I love Max Pacioretty.
Well, that's the thing, guys. When you look at Pacioretty with the style of play that he has, being so physical, he's going to draw like the ire of a lot of the guys he's playing against, and when that's perfect because, like you just said, Darius, that means that those guys are going to go to him. They're going to try to lay a big hit. He's quite willing to absorb it and then dish off to one of our two other skilled guys that are on his line. Hey, just to get back, guys, to answer Blake's question about Knies. Yeah, without a doubt, Blake, Knies is the best second round pick in my lifetime that the Leafs have ever gotten. The only one I could say would come close to that, but he was nowhere near Knies, would be just going way back, would be Sergei Berezin back in the day. Was a second round pick, I believe. He might have been a third. But anyways, but Knies is honestly, any other team, guys, Knies is a marquee player. And he's just on the cusp of coming out. I think he's just having his coming out party now. And I'm really interested to see what he can do. Guys, I just want to say, guys, Leafs tonight, in my opinion, I want to know what you guys think, but tonight the Leafs looked like they were the playoff tested team, and Florida at times looked scrambly, and they looked very un-Florida-like. And I think a big part of that, guys, is because their whole system of forecheck and being so strong on the puck, whether it be PK, power play, or forecheck, is when they have the lead, because I'm waiting for opportunities when the opponent has to open up. Well, but now they're in a situation in the last two games where the Leafs they've been the reverse of that, and the Leafs have absolutely owned them. I disagree with the stats that came up, those stupid, sorry, not stupid, the win-o-meter, which is heavily weighted with puck possession in the offensive zone, which, I mean, you look at the stats, Florida had far more than Toronto did tonight. But there was most perimeter. Their high danger chances of scoring were small. And so, guys, I just think that, like, tonight, Toronto, I think, looked fantastic. And I think, getting back to what I was saying, Florida is being put in positions that they're uncomfortable with, so they can't necessarily put in their A game, and the Leafs are the beneficiary of that.
Yeah. I want to jump in real quick. I know Lit Gaming keeps asking. I'll answer it now. But if we can go live during the games, the answer is it's not going to happen. Like this,
you don't want to see me during the game. Actually,
it's not going to happen. This at least this postseason run. Maybe if you make the Stanley Cup playoffs, we can get something there going. But it's at least for the, we're going to stick with the post games. I think that's the better ride for that. But also, before I let you go over here, Darius, I just kind of remembered this. There was a time in this season, and this is completely off topic before I let you dive into Jim's thing, where the Leafs were employing Timothy Liljegren and Ryan Reeves in the same lineup. So it's kind of crazy how far we've came since
still
then.
employ Ryan Reeves. He's just not deployed.
I guess, sorry. They were deploying. Yeah, here we go. Deploying Ryan Reeves and Timothy Liljegren, which kind of goes to show, nothing against those two guys, how far this team has come from Connor Dewar, Connor Timmins, Timothy Liljegren, Ryan Reeves, to now just shout out to Brad Treliving and everybody there for getting improving the team, but also trusting Pontus Holmberg, who I didn't think stood a chance in the playoffs. His game's kind of built for the playoffs, the way that he's been playing. Like, he's not going to score goals, but he does everything else fine. And that's exactly what you need from a third/fourth liner. And just want to give some thoughts there. But yeah, it's kind of.
Well, and Ryan Reeves, guys, let's just say, he's been given full deployment as the DJ in the locker room.
He's probably the number one hype man alongside Matt Murray, who I also think is up there. Darius, let you take over for what Jim said there, and you can have it a bit.
No, he's the first one in the room in the morning. He's handing out the towels. He's making sure everyone's got breakfast in them. He's got the aux cord. I love Ryan Reeves. I think that he was brought in for a reason, and they have enough players now that he doesn't have to be there. But in terms of, I think your question was Pontus Holmberg, right? Correct?
No, it was about just how I believe that the Florida having to play from behind has changed their plan. So the Leafs are kind of putting forward a Florida-like offense, and then Florida can't play their usual game.
Yeah, I totally agree. Florida doesn't look right. And this is the thing that people were saying that in game one. And I'm like, okay, it's game one. And that's that was the narrative. It's game one. They caught them off guard. They're going to get going here in game two. It didn't happen again. I thought Florida was better than game one, that's for sure,
A lot
but it
better.
didn't happen. They're not playing their game. If you watch the Florida Panthers a couple of years ago, last year when they won the cup, even the last series that they just won against Tampa Bay, they play a certain way, and the Leafs are not allowing them to play that way because the Leafs, for once, are dictating play and making other teams play their game. They're just going out there and doing their thing. So they're not playing down to a level. They're not playing to what the other team is doing. They're playing their game, and that's like, when was the last time we saw that? 2004.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. And Darius, like if you look at, I think this kind of goes to Paul Maurice, guys, because you look at Paul Maurice when he was coaching the Jets. At the same time, the Jets had the same kind of struggles because Paul Maurice teams are full octane forward, and they want to press, they want to forecheck, and everything's about being aggressive and assertive. Well, you can't do that when you're behind, and that's the problem he had in Winnipeg. And right now, that's the problem that Paul Maurice has in Florida.
I touched on it briefly. It leads to a lot of breakaways, quite frankly, and like a lot of breaks because of how far they're pressing up and the way that they're playing. Like their goal is to and it also helps that the Leafs have veteran blue liners like all the way through. Like I mean, Morgan Rielly will make his fair share of suspect passes, and Benoit's having a pretty bad series, maybe a little bit out of place there. But you can, Benoit got burned a few times. You can afford that. There's always going to be some unfortunate games. But, I mean, Carlo, who hasn't, I don't even know if we've uttered his name very much this series or in the playoffs, because he does, he has like a Chris Tanev effect when it comes to, you're not going to hear his name too much, a bit more than Tanev, he shoots a bit more, but he was very quietly good tonight, just remaining calm and even not forcing passes and just pinning the puck against the boards when all the pressure is on, the Leafs. He's been a perfect, and I ultimately think if the Leafs, without Brandon Carlo being acquired at this year's deadline, Morgan Rielly would still be lost, and I don't think he would have came out of the shell to be one of the best players in the Leafs in the playoffs. I think, obviously, he's been good in the playoffs in the past.
Wow.
I think Brandon Carlo fully unlocked Morgan Rielly simply because he knows how responsible Brandon Carlo is defensively, so we can push up a little bit, be more aggressive, and they know they're going to get back. And you can even make the case for Scott Laughton as well. He's been unbelievably defensively, but Brandon Carlo was unlocked Morgan Rielly better than I could have at least ever imagined, and it's all coming to show in the play. Morgan Rielly's been one of their best players, and he's going to have bad turnovers, but he's objectively been one of their best players.
You know what, Nick, that's a really, really good point, because like you said, though, with Carlo and Tanev, they're guys that, like, you're not going to notice them, but that's a good thing because they're stay-at-home steward kind of defensemen. And so the only time you notice them is when they make a mistake. And the reason you don't notice them right now is because they're not making those mistakes and unleashing. That's a great point about Rielly, because when have we seen Rielly look like Rielly this year, except for now? And so, wow, solid point, Nick. Excellent observation. Yeah, because it's so true. Because Rielly has not looked as good in the playoffs it's not good previously in the year as he has in his playoffs. Wow. Great point. Hey guys, just want to talk about the embellishment. I know you guys probably want to get going here, but quickly just with the embellishment. I don't like embellishment penalties, period. I'd rather see guys get their teeth filled in, but that's just me because I'm old school. But if you have a team that has a reputation of making refs look stupid by drawing out penalties that were undeserved, then that's how you get embellishment calls. And I think Florida, to a certain extent, is being called to task because of some of the gamesmanship that they have done historically throughout the team. And refs have a long memory.
Yeah, very good. Also, thank you, Prophet. Have a good evening as well. I want to get something up here, and I want to bring this tweet up to you. You're on the opposite spectrum as I was for the. I think it was a bad embellishment call, just because I don't want to see the call happen. I also just don't. I don't love the call when it's a hit from behind, no matter how the embellishment is. However, there was a tweet here from Chris Black, and he does some stuff with the Jays, so he always dives into deep dives. He says. And he got flamed on this, and it's very rare to see Chris Black complain. It's a great call. He's anticipating the contact, braces for it, and protects himself from hitting the glass, then still collapses to the ground and holds his face. It's still obviously a penalty for the Leafs, but he embellished. You can't protect your face from the glass, then go down holding your face, then get up and look around a split second later. Ethical hockey. So there is people who also think it shouldn't have been should have been, and it was a good embellishment call, and you can make the argument as well. I'm with you, Jim. I don't want they called it to make it 5-on-5. Let's just call it out. I think they just said that they made up something because they didn't want to give. And I'm going to also say, not a great hit from Scott Laughton, but that's okay. I like the physicality. I like the idea. I don't love the actual hit. It was a pretty hard one, but at the same time, like, I would rather him make that hit, assuming everyone's okay and it's not like doesn't hurt him, because he's showing that he cares, and he was in everybody's face. And to be honest, Florida looked, and they disagree probably, a little shook every time Lawton was around. Like they almost were over aggressive with Scott. Like he was causing problems there.
Well, that's the problem with this team, right? I'm talking about Florida. Like, is if you are someone that likes to get people going and drop penalties out, like not in between the whistles, but after the whistles, and the Leafs have a directive that they're not going to do that. Well, then how are you going to implement that part of your game plan without taking penalties? Guys, I just want to make this clear, Nick. I think that tonight the Lawton hit, I believe it was absolutely hitting from behind. The reason they didn't call it though is because of the embellishment. I just don't like embellishment calls. I just like that. I like a hockey when the guys you didn't used to like pretend we were playing soccer, if you know what I'm saying. Like I just get up, be a man. You know, like don't pretend you're injured. Don't do the with all due respect to Brad Marchand, don't do the stuff he historically does, right?
I'm gonna let Darius hop in. Darius, go ahead. I'll let you. I kind of interrupted your take there. Sorry.
I agree. I think that it should have been called. It was hitting from behind, and they got it right in terms of it being even in 5-on-5. It should have been a penalty for both because he did embellish it. I agree with Jim that if you're not hurt, get up. If you are hurt, then you're hurt. And I don't think that he was hurt here, and clearly not because he left the ice to make it look worse than it was, and then he came right back 2 seconds later and played the next shift. So I think they got it right in terms of 5-on-5, but the penalty should have been hitting from behind, embellishment, and then whatever the roughings were.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, I got nothing else here, but I just want to say lastly, guys, is that can you feel it? Can you feel like I know Nick that you're not in the city right now, but Darius is. I am. A lot of the guys in the chat are. I'm telling you, dude, I can feel it. Like you even see it tonight with all those I almost used a bad word. All those people that are sitting down the golds and the platinums. Half of them were back to their seats before the next period started tonight, which is very unusual and stupid in Toronto, right? But I can feel it. There is a vibe, there is a buzz in this city, and I'm telling you, every game we get closer to to taking this series over, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. I am here for it. I'm so excited. Guys, thank you so much for having me on. Everyone is out there right now listening to this, listening to me ramble on. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Consider becoming a member. Make sure you like the stream and just tune into these guys. They're where it's at. They're the best. This is the community, and I freaking here for these guys. I have no association with these guys other than just loving them like you guys. Thank you so much for having me on, and all the best to both of you.
Shout out to Jim. Always
have a great night.
Always looking forward to the con.
We'll see you Friday.
Yeah, we will see you on Friday.
I do want to bring a few things up before we get to 3 stars and we head out here. I just received a text from a Habs fan, so I'll just preference it that way. And the text says, "All joking aside, this is getting serious now. The Leafs must not win the cup."
I want to follow up on that. I want to follow up on that right now because I have a group chat with my friends. 2 Habs fans, a Wild fan, and myself. And, among, some bantering and things like that, I said, hey, guys, can we give the Leafs some props finally? One person said no, which fair enough. Another person said, I'm going to be sick. And he said, would give up my job to see them choke this. Now, obviously, he's joking, but he wants to see the Leafs choke this. And then there's obviously been some talking about how, Florida's tired and how that's the only reason they're winning. The classic, right? The classic there.
Of course.
However, Florida does look a little tired. And Jim mentioned the atmosphere in Toronto. Obviously, I'm not, directly there. I have something on the line here. I'm going to be in Toronto in 2 weeks, and I'm hoping with everything the Leafs are still playing hockey. Because I was there this time last year for, I wasn't at the, Maple Leaf Square. And unfortunately, I wasn't at any of the games. But I was there for in some outdoor, restaurants, bars, whatever it was. And the atmosphere was electric. I cannot imagine what it's like there now. And I might not have to imagine it if they make it to the 3rd round. And I'm going to have to look up the Leafs ticket prices if they make it to the 3rd round, but it might be unbelievably expensive, but I might have to
give you an idea.
Darius, we might have to do something.
Might have to if they're still playing, but it's looking very likely right now. One thing I wanted to bring up as well,
or we'll just go to a restaurant outside and enjoy it that way. And
there's a buzz. There's a buzz in the city. Yeah, no, things are good. I did want to bring this up because somebody brought up earlier. Is Matthew Knies the best 2nd round pick in Leafs history? So I wanted to bring up some recent 2nd round picks. And when I say recent, this goes back to 1990. But since we're doing history, Nick Robertson, 2nd round pick. Not bad. I don't know if he's on the same level. You also got Matt Stajan, Carl Pilosh. You got Nikolai Kulemin, Felix Potvin, pretty good one.
The answer is yes, I think, at this point.
You also have Ty Domi. So there's a couple names in there. I'll just lay those out. Ty Domi as well, a former second round pick. So
It's a bit
I still
early
think
as well.
it's probably I don't know, man. It's probably Matthew Knies at this point.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I think no matter
in terms of impact,
just based off of this playoff series alone, until someone else comes out, I want to ask somebody in the chat as well. Just type yes or no here. Are you guys going for the Jets, or are you going for? I'm going for the Jets personally. Obviously, I like the Winnipeg Jets. Darius, are you going for the Jets here or the Stars in that series? And also, I think the Leafs have a lot better of a chance to beat the Winnipeg Jets than the Dallas Stars. So that's also why I'm going for the Winnipeg Jets.
I hope both teams lose.
Okay.
No, I do not. No, I'm joking. I think I don't know if I want one team to win more than the other, but
I'd
do
rather
not
the
like
Jets over.
I do not.
The Stars for sure.
I don't like the Winnipeg Jets. I
Interesting.
don't like the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, just because of like everything that's happened with the Leafs, that dynamic. But I think they're a skilled team. I respect the team.
Yeah,
sure.
I tend to go for Canadian teams, obviously, but I have to give massive respect to Winnipeg's fans, and that's kind of the main thing. Like the whiteout and stuff like that, like it is unreal. And also, the Dallas Stars terrify me. Now, in my bracket, I have the Stars
They're pretty
winning, and
good.
also anyone in here, I got the first round. Darius, myself, and a few buddies did we did the bracket. I got the first round
you got it.
flawless.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
a lot of luck there. We're gonna call it a lot of luck. But I got the first round fully right, so I win absolutely nothing. I should have pulled a Jim and made a bet on it. I don't know, Jim. Can you do that? Could I have bet on the entire first round? I guess I could have.
Could have done a friendly bet. Could have done
Yeah, I should have put it. If I would have put, I wonder how much like $10 would have won me betting the whole thing. But yeah, the Jets are up 1-0 was the point of that. And
I do want to say, in terms of like Western teams or other teams besides the Leafs, I'm rooting to win. I do like the Oilers a lot for some reason. I think I don't know what it is. I feel like they're not that deep, and somehow they get it done. And I really do like Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I think that he's a leader. He's one of the best players who's ever lived at this point in terms of skill set, and he just gets it done. I love a player who loves to play the game and just is a leader like that. So I hope they do well, but of course, if it's Leafs and Oilers in the final, sweep for Toronto.
yeah, I think they
Sweep.
destroy him. Pickard. I'll take my chances against him. Jim, he did that and
Yeah,
lost.
right.
Well, I could have done it. Jim, you should have asked me for I could have gave you. Listen, caps and I had caps in 4. Caps 1 and 5. It is what it is there. Man, you had Montreal and LA winning. Most of the bracket, I think Darius also. Most people had LA winning. They were all saying it's LA's year,
I
right?
did.
And
I did, yeah.
I didn't.
I only because of the goaltending controversy that was happening. I was
LA
like,
should have won that series, but they
they
they're I forget the term for it. What's the word?
I also had sorry.
What was it when they go up? They always just they lay back. I think there's a term for it. Whatever.
They
Lay back, I guess. The Kings' defensive structure, or I guess their offensive structure, once
They
they
parked the
get
bus.
the lead, is terrible.
Yeah.
It's lay back.
I did also have Colorado, which like did not expect Rantanen to do that, so was close on that one. But I had Colorado, I had Washington, I believe I had Carolina as well.
I think I have.
I don't think anyone had New Jersey, unfortunately, because of the
because
injury,
Sheldon
but-
Keep. No, I'm just kidding. They were missing all their players.
They were missing their entire lineup, but yeah, I think that was pretty much. I had the Kings as well. I also had the Blues in 7 over the Jets, so that was
Very
a little
close.
heartbreaking. Just for my great game, but that was heartbreaking for my bracket. That's for sure.
Canadian
was very
final would be
close.
nice. I would love a Jets Leafs, a Leafs, any team. Give me Leafs in the cup, and that's all.
An
I
all
want.
Canadian final would be amazing, not just because first of all the hockey would be fantastic and the fan bases would be on fire, but the cup would be back in Canada, so that would be nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Felix Potvin was a game changer. He's probably it's got to be him and Knies, I think, up there at this point, and Nick Robertson, of course.
Pavel Datsyuk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into the 3 stars of the night. My 3rd star is going to. Also, we haven't talked about Max Domi. Crazy game. Crazy
Great
game from
game.
him.
Great
Absolutely
game.
fantastic. And I'll give my 3rd star to Morgan Rielly there.
3rd star tonight for me is going to go to Pontus Holmberg. He was in and around it all night. He was creating chances and he was getting, ragdolled at times, but he was he played a good game. So 3rd star.
2nd star of the night is going to go to Max Domi. Fantastic game from him. And I mean, you kind of go ahead. We all know who the 1st star is. I hope you're better be the same 1st star as me. So
I don't know.
it's not then.
For
Sad.
me, it's going to be William Nylander, 2nd star, and yeah, another great performance. He scored again. I thought he was skating well. Would like a little more physicality out of him, but he's getting the job done. So love
Giving it
that.
to Patches. Giving it to Max Pacioretty as my first star. I should give an honorable mention to William Nylander. He's been the best player on the Leafs, so I got to give it to Patches. I mean, I need to get his autograph or something. I've been a Patches advocate. I mean,
He,
no matter what happens
he's
this
been great.
season, if I have a Patches jersey back there, that's going to last for the rest of Leafs Digest history, no matter what
For-
happens, because that is a hilarious.
For the rest of time, that'll be there. But no, shout out to Max Domi, another great game as well. And in terms of Nylander,
Who's your first star?
Max Pacioretty.
Okay, good.
Yeah, same. In terms of Nylander, if I know we're halfway there at this point, but if the Leafs were to win the cup, he would be the Conn Smythe winner, I think, at this point. Like, he is. His celebration too. This guy does not like.
He doesn't care.
He does not have social anxiety and anxiety fear William Nylander.
Yes.
Like, that guy does any high pressure situation.
Under contract for
I'm here.
another half decdecade. So this is more than that. So this is fantastic.
More than
love for
that, yeah.
Wall. Shout out to Joseph Wall. I don't know if he deserved to start. He probably does. I think he could be better. I think he can be better in the next game. I think if he goes now, that's his first full game. Like, there's a real world where he does better. He let in a couple stinkers, and I was on his tail privately in conversations for Joseph Wall. And I also want to give a shout out to the Leafs in general for making my heart rate go extremely high and heartbeat fast. But every time they gave up the lead, they would get it right back. Mainly that Mitch Marner goal, which was one of the craziest goals. Also, the Florida Panthers goal, the first goal of the game. I was looking down on my phone because I knew that they were throwing the puck down for a faceoff. And 2 seconds later, I heard Craig Simpson say a goal, and I was sad. So
yeah. And as Jim just said in the chat, 10 more wins. 10 more wins. And I do want to, if we're going to wrap up here, I do want to bring up one last stat, and this is courtesy of Leafs Latest on X. All time in the 108 or 9-year history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, when they've gone up 2-0 in a series, much like last series, they're 11-0 all time. 11-0. The Florida Panthers, when they go down 2-0 in series, all time, 0-5. They've never won a series that they've gone down 2-0 in.
And
so
you know what? Leave it to the Leafs to break their own record and make it 11-1. But I think they're gonna. I've never felt like I feel.
There is a confidence here.
I think Friday's like fairly stressed. Like, I'm gonna be terrified when something happens. Like, even if they have a completely horrid game, like they did against the Senators in Game 4, it kind of just is what it is. Yes, Jim, go ahead.
Oh, thank God. So I totally messed that up. Guys, for anyone still hanging out, only 10 more wins. Thank you for getting me back on.
Yes, sir. I was waiting for you to call back in. That's why I let you in so fast. 10 more wins. 10
Love it.
Which is crazy.
Love it.
Which is crazy.
I had to call back in because it can't break. It's been the tradition, guys.
It's
I
good
can't
luck.
break it now.
Superstitious
right?
around here.
Well,
Thank you
otherwise,
very much,
if
Jim.
we lost the next, it'd be my fault. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jim. Have a good
Have
night.
a fantastic evening. Shout out to Jim once again. Had to get that in. 10 more wins, ladies, which is absurd. It's like an eighth of the season, but that was a good perspective, Ben. One of the guys we work with said today. It's still an eighth of the season. Like, that's a lot of wins, but it's we got to go ahead and take care of business. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a video for you guys early tomorrow, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. It's also a side note, your guys' support in the videos. Speechless.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
yeah.
A lot of new people coming in, a lot of Panthers fans. I will say Panthers fans have been very respectful in our comment section. So I'm going to give them some credit there. Like, for the maybe, we're going to miss some, but for the most part, they've been pretty respectful. I assume that will change now that we're up 2-0 in the series. We'll see tomorrow morning, but video tomorrow between, 8 and 9. So it's going to be, Rantanen just scored. They did. Yeah. I have a haircut tomorrow, which is unfortunate because I feel like that's a bit of like a unlucky thing. So it's,
I also have one coming up, and I don't believe it unless you're on the team anymore. I used to be very superstitious. I don't do that. Although I will say, last Thursday, just to bring this up before I wrap up here, I ate the exact same thing, like prepared it, everything that I did the last Thursday that the Leafs played. I think it was game 2 or whatever. No, game 3 maybe, which was also in Ottawa. So I did do that. I did fall victim to it.
Would have been further in game 3, I think, right? Because they won.
No, I think it was game 3 and then game 6. So I did the same thing for game 3 and game 6. Yeah. So I did fall victim to my own superstitions.
I'm gonna have to get the hair. I mean, I could delay it, but I'll probably go ahead and get the haircut tomorrow. Maybe I'll Listen, it is long. It is long right now. And I have it.
I'm not shaving my beard until they either win the cup or lose. So that's happening.
Someone asked me to go to Greta Sports Bar and watch the game. Yeah, when we're up there, if they're still in the playoffs, we'll definitely go to a spot to. Yeah, it was game 5. My bad. It was game 5. You're right, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go somewhere for the game. Meet up with you guys. Meet up with Jim as well, who hinted at a Pacioretty. I'll make sure I don't. Unbelievable. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. What'd you say?
Don't buy it.
No. I was actually going to, which is a good thing you stepped in there.
That was a thing for a while. That's right.
Oh, I was going to buy it. I was going to be kind of a surprise for the stream because it was, I said I was going to get it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you about the haircut. Don't cut the hair until I lose. Do I cancel it now? I might actually have to do that. I might actually cancel the haircut tomorrow.
I was thinking of getting one. I don't have one scheduled. I was thinking of getting one, but I actually, in the back of my head, I'm like, they're going to lose because of it. They are. Should cancel
I probably won't cancel it because I have a trip coming up and he doesn't have a ton of spots open, but we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic evening. Video for you guys tomorrow, probably around 9 a.m. Eastern. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Multiple videos throughout the day. Don't think they're going to practice tomorrow, but I'm assuming we're going to get something surrounding Anthony Stolarz. Well, we'll see if you guys notice if I have one in tomorrow night's video if we have one. But ladies and gentlemen, yeah, Darius, you can take it. You don't get a haircut, and I'll get one, 50-50. It is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guys, is unbelievable. Playoff hair, kind of going right now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll knock on wood after the haircut if I get one. But, Jim, everyone, thank you for calling in. Thank you for donating. Paul, Robert, everybody in here. Blake, your guys' support's been unbelievable. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you very, very soon in about 9 or 10 hours for a video. See you guys later.
Leafs Digest, your daily dose of gold. Stories of the bold where legends untold. From first puck drop to the season's fall. Tune in.